What do you think is the biggest financial decision you will ever make in your life? Let's think about that. Some people might be inclined to say, well, it's your career choice. Makes sense, because that has a huge impact on how much money you're going to make. So yeah, that sounds like a good one. Or maybe it's a matter of where you choose to live. That has a huge impact on how much home you can afford and how much your monthly living expenses are going to be. So yeah, maybe that's it. Or if you're a follower or a disciple of Dave Ramsey, it's about staying out of debt. No, don't do debt under any circumstances. Sure, because debt drags you down and it slows down your ability to build wealth. All of those are good prospects for your biggest financial decision, but what if I told you it was something else? That's right, and I'm going to tell you what that something else is in this video. So you're probably wondering at this point, what is the big secret? What is this big financial decision that's going to have the biggest financial impact on your life? It's not about your career. It's not about where you choose to live. It's not about whether you choose to get in debt. It's not even about how you choose to invest. The biggest financial decision you will ever make is who you choose to marry. Yes, folks, that is the biggest financial decision you will ever make. Statistics and studies have proven that people who stay in long-term marriages build wealth faster than any other class of people. At the bottom of that rung of people, if you were to take say you were to take a typical situation, you have people who work the same job, make the same money, do the same things. The only difference is their status as far as relationships are concerned. So you take the first person, he's a single person. This single person will be at the bottom of the rung when it comes to building wealth. Why? Because they're doing it all alone. They're carrying the load alone, and they have the one income to do that with. Next, you have the person who chooses to cohabitate. They partner up with someone. They're building wealth faster. Why? Because you got two salaries now. So now they're able to pool their resources together and do more with it. Build wealth even faster. You might think to yourself, okay, this should be the end of it because 2 is greater than 1. So it doesn't matter whether you're married or not. Actually, it does. Studies have shown that couples who choose to be married actually build greater wealth and they build it faster. Why? Because they're in a committed relationship and they move differently. They make decisions differently. They move as a unit. They are committed to a common goal, and so they work together. And that synergy of working together moves them faster along the road to wealth than any other relationship status. So you might be saying to yourself, okay, well, sounds like a business decision. Is that how we're looking at marriage? Actually, getting married is kind of sort of like a business decision. The reason it is because in the eyes of the law, now all of your property is co-owned by both of you. You are both entitled to equal access to it. And the decisions that one partner makes influences the situation of the other partner. The marriage corporation, if you will, rises and falls on the decisions of the individual partners. And just like any other business, if you make good decisions, the business will prosper. If you make bad decisions, the business will fail. Now, I'm not telling you to go out there and pick somebody based solely on numbers. I am a firm believer in love. I'm a romantic at heart, and I do believe that love and marriage always triumph when you combine them together. What I am saying to you is if you mess around and fall in love with the wrong person and then go ahead and marry them, that's going to tank your ability to build wealth on top of all of the pain that it's going to put on top of you in the first place. So, when you're choosing someone to marry, yes, marry someone you love. And make sure that you agree on these 4 important things. Number 1, in-laws. What role are in-laws going to play in your life? Are you in agreement with them always being over at your house? Are you in agreement of them being kept at a distance? Or is there some middle ground that you need to come to? Next, kids. Are you going to have kids? If so, how many? If not, are you both okay with that? And when you have kids, how are you going to raise them? What sort of discipline are you going to employ? What kind of education are they going to have? These are major things that will break up a marriage. Number 3, you want to be on the same page when it comes to religion. The Bible is true when it says, do not become unevenly yoked. It doesn't matter what your religious beliefs are. If your religious beliefs are incompatible with each other, then you will not succeed. You will surely fail because it'll be a bone of contention on top of all the other bones of contention that you have that will cause you to sink your marital ship. And the 4th thing that you have to be in agreement on is money. And that's the focus of my discussion. Today I'm going to talk to you about the money thing. So, when you meet someone and you're getting to know them as time progresses, you're going to gradually uncover certain things about them. And let me tell you this. There are 5 numbers that you need to know before you decide whether this person is a good choice for you to be married to. And I'm going to dig into that right now. All right, let's dig into those 5 key numbers that you need to know before you decide whether or not this person is the right choice for you. Now, before I go further, let me just say this. You're not going to meet somebody on the first date and you're sitting across from them in a restaurant and you start peppering them with these numbers. These are things that you work in over time, and you work them in as you begin to know each other and you decide, you know what? I think this might be the one. I think this might be my life partner. But I need to know more about them in order to make the final decision. So the number 1 number that you want to know is, what is their net worth? This number is actually made up of 2 numbers. And those numbers are, how much do they own and how much do they owe? So what you don't want to do is find yourself with someone who is so far upside down on what they owe versus what they own that they don't have a plan or a realistic expectation of getting out of it. Now, I'm not saying that you can't get together with somebody who has debt. What you need to know is, what was the story that led them there? And what is their plan, if any, to get out of it? If they've got a ton of debt and they stumbled into it making dumb decisions, and they're satisfied with where they are right now, being in a negative net worth situation, then chances are this is not the person for you. Because you will constantly fight with this person about having, getting, maintaining the things in life that you probably want. And so that's going to take down your marriage because you're constantly fighting over that aspect of money. And first of all, money is the number one bone of contention in every marriage. Let me put that in there. So you want to be on the same page as much as possible because you will have disagreements. However, you want to eliminate the areas of disagreement as much as possible so that that number one cause of divorce does not take out your marriage. So, know their net worth. That means understanding everything that they own and everything that they owe. And you have an equal obligation to disclose that information to them too, because they have a right to decide whether or not they want to be with you. The second number that you want to know is their cash flow. That too is made up of two smaller numbers. So, what is that made up of? Number one, what is their total gross income? And number two, what is their total outgo by way of expenses on a monthly basis? So if they have more going out in expenses than they have coming in income, that's an unsustainable situation. They are not going to be able to contribute to the partnership the way you would like them to, because either both of you are going to continue to struggle, or you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're constantly putting in extra to help them out of their ugly financial situation. Now, I'm not saying, let me make this clear, I'm not saying that both of you need to be making the same amount of money. There are plenty of successful marriages where one partner makes this much and one partner makes this much or that much. The question is, how are you going to make that work for you, and are you comfortable with it? Generally, someone who is spending more than they're making is not fiscally responsible. So they're going to keep themselves in constant trouble, and then they're going to get you into trouble because they're going to continually drag you down and themselves down with their bad financial behavior. That is not a situation that you want to be in. So you want to have conversations with them around this. Let them show you their budget. You show them your budget. That budget will reveal so much about them. Where are their priorities? Is it on taking trips? Is it on having fun? Is it on buying the latest fashions? The nicest car regardless? I just have to look good? This person who's so concerned with the material aspects of life that they're willing to spend themselves into disaster is not going to have the bandwidth to love you the way they need to. So please understand that you need to understand that cash flow number, what makes it up, and what is the mindset behind it. All right. Number 3. This is your third number that you want to know when it comes to deciding whether or not you want to be hitched to somebody for life. That is their FICO score. You know, if you're a Dave Ramsey person, you don't care about FICO scores because you're like, I'm never using debt. I'm not charging things. The only thing I'll ever do is buy a home, and I'll use alternate financing for that. That's a nice paradisiac world to live in, but let me tell you, when life smacks you in the face, that doesn't work for everybody, and it doesn't work for every financial group. There are different financial and economic and social groups in this country, and some of them have a higher head start than others. Others have to work harder. But then what they don't tell you is that rich people actually leverage credit in a way that benefits them rather than drags them down. So rich people use credit to their advantage. They believe in the principle of OPM, other people's money. In other words, why would I pull my money out of its hardworking job of making more money when I can go to the bank over here and get their money at a lower interest rate than the money's gonna gain me that I have working over here? So you know what? I'm just gonna leave my money over here working hard at this higher interest rate, and I'm gonna go borrow this money at the lower interest rate because that makes mathematical sense. I'm not talking about using credit to buy stuff that you can't afford. So this is one thing you have to uncover. What is their view of their credit score? If it's in the tank, that's not the end of the world. Life happens. Trust me, I know. People lose jobs. People get sick. People get divorced. People have kids and they have child support obligations on them. These are things that can cause a person to fall behind. Maybe they make unwise decisions and they start pulling on credit to keep themselves afloat, and then they end up falling behind. They can't keep up with the payments, and they get into the low 600s, the low 500s, or even falling below that basement level. So what you need to do is show each other your credit reports. What does it say? What is the number? Get your credit reports together as you see that, yeah, this marriage thing is about to happen. We need to really get these things out in the open and discuss them so that there's no surprises. Because there is such a thing as financial infidelity. And hiding something from your partner financially, whether it's how much you make, how much you spend, how much you owe, other obligations and habits that you have, this is financial infidelity. It's not cool, and it will take your marriage out in an instant. So compare FICO scores. Agree on what is the goal FICO score for both of you and how you're going to view managing that and growing that number over the course of your marriage together. Because if it's important to one and not important to another, that ain't going to work. So you got to be on the same page with that and understand, well, where are we going to improve it? If you don't care, I love you, but I can't be married to you. And you got to go in a different direction. Okay. Now, what is the fourth financial number that you need to know when you're considering marriage? Well, that's your financial freedom number. And this is very important. You might be saying to yourself, what's your financial freedom number? Well, that is, if you were to sit down and think to yourself, what is my dream life? Like, where am I living? Where am I traveling? What am I owning? What am I buying? How many times am I eating out? What are we doing for entertainment? What are my hobbies? What's my general lifestyle? What are my obligations? If I add all of that up honestly, what is that number every year? Maybe it's 60,000. Maybe it's 80,000. Maybe it's 120,000. Be honest with where this number is. Because your financial freedom number is the amount of investments that you need to have in order to throw off income in order to say, I got all of that covered. So that is freedom from having any job or any boss have control over you. In fact, when you go into work and your boss starts going, you can be like, I don't need this. I'm out. And he's like, well, where are you going? I got financial freedom. I don't need this anymore. Bye. So you need to calculate, well, what is that lump sum of cash and what is the reasonable percentage rate you want to get from that? So for instance, if you've got $1 million and you're expecting a reasonable net interest return of 6%, that's giving you $60,000 a year. If you're like, nah, I want to keep it safe, at 4%, you're calculating $40,000 on $1 million. So if your financial freedom number is 80, at 4%, you need $2 million to make that work for you. Is this person you're marrying on the same page about that? Or do they honestly feel like money's nasty? I think it's evil. I don't like I don't like having large sums of money. I think rich people are bad. I think wanting a lot of money is evil, and I don't want any parts of that. That's a hard thing to find out after you marry somebody. That's going to put you in a situation where your relationship is not going to work, because now you're working at cross odds. While you're trying to build something, they're silently trying to pull it down. So you have to be on the same page when it comes to your financial freedom number. Have an honest discussion about it. What is that lifestyle that you both want? What is that number that's going to throw off investments to get you there? Keep in mind that the stock market has historically returned 10%. So maybe you're comfortable being more aggressive at 8%. I don't like to go above 8. Because, you got to think about ups and downs and fees that you may incur along the way, those sorts of things. So I'm comfortable calculating at 8. Maybe you want to take it down to 6. Be on the same page. That's what matters. All right. Last financial number. This last financial number that you want to keep in mind is an okie doke that can come around and punch you in the gut when you least expect it. And that is your prior entanglement number. You might be saying to yourself, what the heck is a prior entanglement number? I'm going to tell you what a prior entanglement number is. Prior entanglement number is the number that you have committed to from a prior relationship that now becomes due and payable upon your death. Let me explain what that is. Sometimes people get married and sometimes they get divorced. Sometimes people just meet somebody or have a relative that they like and they say, you know what, I want to leave something to this person when I die. That money's either going to come out of your pension, your 401k, your life insurance proceeds, and it'll generally be outlined in a will or in the terms of whatever that financial instrument is, that you're saying that upon my death, this amount of money is going to this person, the remainder can go to my spouse and my kids, and how am I dividing it up? You might have kids from a previous marriage that are grown and gone. Don't be hiding them under a rock and letting your spouse find out when you die, oh, half my money is going to them, when they thought that all of it was going to you. Come forward with your prior entanglement number. Let them know that if I die, this is how much money's already committed to them from my pension, from my 401k, from my life insurance. It's not all available for you. This is what you have, and that's what I'm putting aside for you. But this part is already committed to. I know somebody right now who their husband died, and they were completely unaware that he wasn't so comfortable in the marriage, and he wanted to actually leave a portion of his pension to his sister. Imagine that when she finds out after he's dead. Oh my God, I thought that I was getting all this money. Now I'm really not. That's not something you should spring on somebody without their knowledge. And it's a horrible thing to find out if you find yourself in that position. So, full disclosure on your prior entanglement number. Let somebody know what your obligations are. It's the loving and responsible and person of character thing to do. Those are your 5 marriage financial numbers. These are the things that people come across in everyday life, and they don't give thought to it. They get married based on a whim. They get married based on emotions. They get married based on feelings, but let me tell you something. Feelings don't pay the mortgage. They don't pay the rent. Feelings don't keep you safe at night. Money is an essential part of marriage and maintaining your safety in this world. Guys, she needs security. That's how they are designed. They are designed to have that security button constantly pressed so that they know everything's okay. If you're a guy, understand what her financial security issues are. What makes her feel safe? And meet those financial numbers. Girls, ladies, understand that a man's number one need is to feel needed and respected. So let him know that you need him, and this is how he can show how he can meet the need that you have. Let him know he's useful. If you make him feel like he's useless, he's a loser, I can do this without you, then the man is going to automatically think at this point, well, what am I even doing here? I'm not serving any purpose. So then at that point, he's checked out of the marriage, or he's physically even out the door to the next person. So, guys, have the 5-number conversation before you say I do, because if you say I do, at that point, you're done. If you are already married and you're having difficulty with your money, maybe it's because you never had this conversation. So now is not the ideal time, but it is the only time available to you, and it is the best time available to you to start having these conversations. Understand how the other person feels about them and see how you can come to terms to make each other comfortable around it. All right, that's it. Boys and girls, you have a great day, and I will see you soon. Hey, if you enjoyed this discussion around money, then I've got something great for you. It's called Money Hero Academy. It's where we meet on a weekly basis to talk about the issues surrounding money, to talk about the fears around money, the hopes, the joys, the challenges, the strategies, the tactics, all of that stuff coming together to help you to win with money, because you've got to be your own money hero, because nobody's coming to save you. So if you are interested in winning with money and you think Money Hero Academy might be the means for you to do so, comment Money Hero below and I will get back to you with the details. All right, have a great day. Bye now.